Welcome class 12th. Here we are going to look up for the concluding part of chapter 2nd, The Tiger King from Vista's book. Let's start. The Maharaja's tiger hunts continued to be highly successful. Within 10 years, he was able to kill 70 tigers, and then an unforeseen hurdle brought his mission to a standstill. The tiger population became extinct in the forest of Pratibandhapuram. Extinct means disappeared. Who knows whether the tigers practiced birth control or committed harakiri or simply ran away from the state because they desired to be shot by the British hands alone. So, thus, the tiger hunting mission of the king was at great success. In a span of 10 years, he was able to kill 70 tigers. Then, an unplanned problem it stopped his mission. The problem was that there were now no more tigers left in the forest of Pratibandhapuram. Here, the writer creates humor by saying it would be possible that tigers had practiced the birth control activities or they would have committed suicide. Or it could be also possible they would have run away and desired to be killed by some Britisher. One day the Maharaja sent for Diwan. Diwan Sahib, are not you aware of the fact that 30 tigers still remain to be shot down by this gun of mine? He asked, brandishing his gun. Brandishing, that means to wave as a threat. Shuddering at the sight of the gun, Diwan cried out, Your Majesty, I am not a tiger. Shuddered, that means to tremble with fear. Which idiot would call you a tiger? No, I am not a gun. You are neither tiger nor gun. Diwan Sahib, I summoned you here for a different purpose. I have decided to get married. So here it is told, when one day the king called his minister and waved his gun towards him, he informed that he was yet to kill 30 more tigers. He said, Did you know? The minister was scared to see the gun in his hand. He cried out that he was not a tiger, as he was feared to see the gun aiming towards him. The king said he was not so foolish that he would mistake the minister to be the tiger. But he was still scared and said he was neither a gun. The king said to him that he knew that he was neither a tiger nor a gun. But on the other hand, he had called his minister for another purpose. As he said, he wanted to get married. The Diwan began to babble. Babble means to talk something in a quick or confused way. Your Majesty, I have 2 wives already. If I marry you, don't talk nonsense. Why should I marry you? What I want is a tiger. Your Majesty, please think it over. Your ancestors were married to the sword. If you like, marry the gun. A tiger king is more than enough for the state. It does not need a tiger queen as well. Now the minister was still confused that he started speaking something in a very foolish way. He said that king, he was already married and he had 2 wives, and if the minister would marry the king interrupted and scolded him for speaking nonsense. Why? I would marry you. He said, I wanted that I should marry to some girl. He wanted a tiger. The minister was still confused. He started saying something foolish. He informed the king that he was already married and had 2 wives. To hear this reply, the king became angry and scolded him by saying that he had no reason to marry him. He only wanted the tiger. To hear this reply, the writer creates a humor. To this, the minister told the king that he should think over this marriage. He said, though your ancestors had married to the sword, and so If he wanted, he could marry the gun. But marrying a tiger and getting a tiger queen for the kingdom. So it was not a good thought. He added that a tiger king was enough for their state. They didn't need any tiger queen. The Maharaja gave a loud crack of laughter. I'm not thinking of marrying either a tiger or a gun, but a girl from the ranks of human beings. First, you may drop statistics of tiger population in the different native states. Next, you may investigate if there is a girl I can marry in the royal family of a state with a large tiger population. So, really, it was a humorous now reply for the king. He started now laughing loudly. He said that he did not want to marry either a tiger or a gun, but he wanted to get married to some girl from another kingdom. He asked his minister that he should prepare the list of the other neighboring states and the number of tigers they had. Next, he said the minister should suppose to find out if there was a girl worth marrying in some royal family of other state which had the good number of the tiger population. The Diwan followed his orders. He found the right girl from a state which possessed a large number of tigers. Maharaja Jang Jang Bahadur killed 5 or 6 tigers each time he visited his father-in-law. In this manner, 99 tiger skins adorned the walls of the reception hall in the Pratibandhupuram palace. Adorn means decorated. Thus, the minister followed his orders and found the right girl from another state which had a large number of tigers. Thus, every time when Jang Jang Bahadur visited his father-in-law's kingdom, he used to kill 5 or 6 tigers there. In this way, the king killed 99 tigers, and the skins of these tigers decorated the walls of the lobby hall of Pratibandhupuram palace. The Maharaja's anxiety reached a fever pitch. Anxiety means worry. When there remained just one tiger to achieve a tally of 100. Tally, that means count or total. So as the Maharaja had killed 99 tigers, but he had to kill just one more to complete his total count of 100 tigers. So he became much worried and excited to kill the 100th tiger. He had this one thought during the day and the same dream at night. By this time, the tiger farms had run dry, even in his father-in-law's kingdom. It became impossible to locate tigers anywhere, yet only one more was needed. If he could kill just that one single beast, the Maharaja would have no fears left. He could give up tiger hunting altogether. Thus, the king started dreaming of killing the 100 tiger day and night. The tiger population in his father-in-law's population had also now disappeared. He could not find the single tiger anywhere now. He was feeling so desperate for that last beat, as after killing this 100 tiger, there would be no danger or threat to his life. He had also decided that after killing this last tiger, he would even give up the tiger hunting. But he had to be extremely careful with that last tiger. What had the late chief astrologer said? Even after killing 99 tigers, the Maharaja should beware of the 100th. True enough, the tiger was a savage beast. After all, one had to be wary of it. But where was that 100 tiger to be found? It seemed easier to find tiger's milk than a live tiger. So here, the king was reminded of the late astrologer's words that he was supposed to be very careful from the 100 tiger. And he knew it very well. The tiger was a wild beast after all. So he had to be very careful of it. But where was that 100 tiger? The writer again creates humor here by saying that really it was easier to find the tiger's milk in the kingdom rather than a live tiger. So it became impossible for him to locate the last tiger. Thus the Maharaja was sunk in gloom, but soon came the happy news which dispelled the gloom. In his own state, sheep began to disappear frequently from a hillside village. Thus Maharaja was sunk in gloom means sadness, but soon came the happy news which dispelled the gloom. In his own state, she began to disappear frequently from a hillside village. It was first ascertained that this was not the work of Khader Mia Sahib or Veerasamy Naikar, both famed for their ability to swallow sheep whole. Surely a tiger was at work. The villagers ran to inform the Maharaja. The Maharaja announced a 3-year exemption from all taxes for that village and set out on the hunt at once. Now, this failure made the king very sad. His sadness came to an end when he got the good news that from the hillside village the sheep was disappearing at very good speed. There were two people in the state, Khader Mia Sahib and Veerasamy Naikar, who were famous for swallowing the sheep the whole. As this was not their job, so it was then estimated that there would be some tiger at work. The villagers were very excited. They ran to inform the king about it. The Maharaja became so happy that he exempted the villagers from all the taxes for the coming 3 years and then set out to hunt his tiger. The tiger was not easily found. It seemed as if it had wantonly hid itself in order to flout the Maharaja's will. Wantonly, that means carelessly. Flout, that means to cheat. The Maharaja was equally determined. He refused to leave the forest until the tiger was found. As the days passed, the Maharaja's fury and obstinacy mounted alarmingly. Many officers lost their jobs. Fury, that means anger. Obstinacy, that means firmness or stubbornness. Thus, the king could not locate the tiger again easily. It seemed as if the tiger was hidden in order to go against the king's desire of killing him. But the king was equally determined that he did not leave the forest till he would find the last tiger. With the passing of time, the king's anger and stubbornness it raised to the height. So in this now disappointment, he removed many officers from his kingdom. One day, when his rage was at its height, the Maharaja called the Diwan and ordered him to double the land tax forthwith. So one day, in his fury, he called the minister and ordered him to increase the land tax to the double. So he was so angry, he ordered him that he should now double the land tax. The people will become discontented, then our state too will fall a prey to the Indian National Congress. So at his order, the minister suggested that if their people would become unhappy, their kingdom would become a part of the Indian National Congress. In that case, you may resign from your post, said the king. So at this, the king ordered and gave him threat that in this condition, he would also have to resign from his post. Diwan went home convinced that if the Maharaja did not find the tiger soon, the results could be catastrophic. He felt life returning to him only when he saw the tiger which had been brought from the People's Park in Madras and kept hidden in his house. Catastrophic, that means dangerous, or something that causes sudden great damage or suffering. The minister realized that the king was very angry and he thought if the tiger was not found soon, it could lead to much destruction. So the minister found the way. He brought one tiger from the People's Park of Madras and kept it hidden in his house. After hearing the king's threat, the minister realized that if he would not find the tiger soon, the result could be really disastrous. Thus, the minister thought of a plan. He called a tiger from the People's Park of Madras and kept it hidden in his house. Midnight, Diwan and his wife pulled the tiger to the car and pushed it on the back seat. Diwan himself drove the car and straight took him to the forest where the king was hunting. But very surprisingly, the tiger started his non-cooperation movement and refused to come out of the car. The Diwan got thoroughly exhausted in his efforts to pull the animal out of the car. On the following day, the same old tiger wandered into the Maharaja's presence and stood as if in the humble supplication, Master, what do you command of me? It was with boundless joy, and the Maharaja took careful aim at the beast. The tiger fell in a crumpled heap. The next day, the same tiger was spotted by the Maharaja. It itself came out and stood before the king. He was very happy to see the hunted tiger and he took the aim at the tiger. The tiger fell down as if it had been shot dead. Now the king was overjoyed to have killed the hunted tiger and fulfilled his pledge. I have killed the hunted tiger. My woe has been fulfilled. The Maharaja was overcome with elation, ordering the tiger to be brought to the capital in grand procession. The Maharaja hastened away in his car. Elation, that means to be overjoyed. I have killed the hunted tiger. My woe is fulfilled. The Maharaja was overcome with elation. Elation means overjoyed, ordering the tiger to be brought to the capital in grand procession. The Maharaja hastened away in his car. Thus, the king became overjoyed to kill the hunted tiger. He ordered that the tiger should be brought to the capital for the grand procession and thus went away in his car. After the Maharaja left, the hunters went to take a closer look at the tiger. The tiger looked back at them, rolling its eyes in bafflement. The man realized that the tiger was not dead. The bullet had missed it. It had fainted from the shock of the bullet whizzing past. The hunters wondered what they should do. They decided that the Maharaja must not come to know that he had missed his target. If he did, they could lose their jobs. One of the hunters took aim from a distance of 1 foot and shot the tiger. This time he killed it without missing his mark. So after the departure of the king, the hunters went closer to have the look at the tiger and they found it was still alive. They came to know the king's bullet had missed the tiger. So that's why the tiger was looking back with his rolling eyes and had actually fainted due to the shock as the bullet had passed close to it. As this tiger, it belonged to the park of Madras People's Park, so he was not in the habit of hearing the sounds of the bullet. So he got scared and got fainted. The hunters were confused what to do. One of them then took the aim at the tiger and shot it dead. So, with a very short distance, they took the aim of this tiger and killed it by themselves. Then, as commanded by the king, the dead tiger was taken in procession through the town and buried. A tomb was erected over it. So, as per the king's order, they took the dead tiger to the town in a procession. Then it was buried, and a beautiful tomb was erected on the tiger's grave. A few days later, the Maharaja's son's third birthday was celebrated. Until then, the Maharaja had given his entire mind over to tiger hunting. He had no time to spare for the crown prince. But now the king turned his attention to the child. He wished to give him some special gift on his birthday. He went to the shopping center in Pratibandpuram and searched every shop but could not find anything suitable. Finally, he spotted a wooden tiger in a toy shop and decided it was the perfect gift. So, after a few days, there was the third birthday celebration of Maharaja's son. Till that time, he had been so engrossed in tiger hunting, he had never spent time with his family. Now, as he had completed his vow of killing the 100 tigers, he now wanted to give his full attention to his family and his child. So, the king, Jang Bahadur, he wanted to now gift something special to his son on his birthday. Thus, he went to the shopping center in Pratibandpuram and searched every shop but could not find anything suitable for his lovely child. Finally, he saw a wooden tiger in a toy shop and considered it to be the perfect gift for his son. The wooden tiger cost only 2 annas and a quarter, but the shopkeeper knew that if he quoted such a low price to the Maharaja, he would be punished under the rules of the emergency. So he said, "Your Majesty, this is an extremely rare example of craftsmanship, a bargain at 300 rupees." As the wooden tiger was costing a very low price, it only cost 2 and a quarter annas. But the shopkeeper knew it very well. If he would quote such a low price from the king, he would be punished under the rule of the emergency. So, he asked the king that the wooden tiger was a perfect example of craftsmanship and it will cost a mere 300 rupees. Very good. Let this be your offering to the crown prince on his birthday, said the king and took it away with him. On that, the king was very happy to get this offering for his son. He took the tiger with him. The same day, the king and his son played with the wooden tiger. As the tiger had been made by the unskilled carpenter, it had small wooden sliver coming out of it. One of such sharp edges of the wood, it pierced into the right hand of the king. The king pulled it out instantly and continued to play with the prince. The next day, infection flared in the Maharaja's right hand. In 4 days, it developed into a suppurating sore which spread all over the arm, suppurating a wound that has pus. So next day, the infection spread into the Maharaja's right hand. As he had pricked that sliver from his own hand. Within 4 days, So this infection turned into a wound full of pus and spread all over the king's right arm. Three famous surgeons were brought in from Madras. After holding a consultation, they decided to operate. The operation took place. The three surgeons who performed it came out of the theatre and announced the operation was successful. The Maharaja is dead. Three famous surgeons were brought in from Madras. After holding a consultation, they decided to operate. The operation took place. The three surgeons who performed it came out of the theatre and announced the operation was successful. The Maharaja is dead. In this manner, the 100th tiger took its final revenge. Dear kids, after knowing this climax of the story, it seemed to be quite ironical that how the king believed in the astrologer's prediction and started the hunting spree and made extinction of the tigers not only in his kingdom but of his father-in-law's kingdom too. Though finally the king became the victim of the 100th tiger, but it was not the real one but a toy. I hope every one of you have understood the chapter thoroughly. Thank you for watching.